I was sure that I was going to kill my team. I was the captain of the Dirty Avocados, an adventure racing team that traveled to the island of Haida Gwaii. Now, the island of Haida Gwaii is an island off of the British Columbia coast in Canada, and it's so far north that you can actually see Alaska. And we were there to compete in a 6-day, 300-mile adventure in which we would be traveling simply by map and compass. We started this event by jumping in a boat and paddling out into the ocean, and after about 5 hours, we landed that boat, and we began what we thought was going to be a 17-hour trek over 2 mountain peaks. So we started off down the road, we're hustling down the road, and the road ends, and we start bushwhacking through the forest. Now, the thing about Haida Gwaii is it's a rainforest, which means everything is wet, nothing burns. So every tree that ever fell is still laying there, and you have to crawl over and under and through. And so we made our way, our team of 4, which was Brian and Will and Melissa and me, and we're working our way through the forest, and we start to ascend the first peak, and all of a sudden we hear this whop, 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 whop. It's a helicopter coming to rescue one of the teams that has been injured. We were in the middle of nowhere. Well, it was a bit unnerving, but we continued on. We tagged the first peak, got our checkpoint, and began to drop into the valley as it got dark. And we got into the valley at night, and we worked our way through the valley, and somewhere along the line, we must have taken a wrong turn. Because as the sun came up, we were faced with a series of cliffs that were not on my map. Well, I thought we had to get above those. We had to get under the ridge, so we began to traverse our way around the cliffs, and we finally find this little notch in the rock. Now, we have no rope, no crampons, no ice axe, but we scramble up, clawing our way up, and we get onto the ridge, which is covered with snow. And once we get everyone up there, no sooner are we there than a cloud descends onto us, and there is no visibility. But what I can hear is the waterfalls that are going off the cliffs that we saw as we were ascending. And I was absolutely terrified that we were going to walk off into the abyss and die. So I did the thing I thought would be smart, is I pulled out our satellite phone to call that helicopter. But it didn't work. So I was terrified, I was very worried about my team, and we were on our own. So I pull out my compass, and I take a bearing of where I hope we're going, and we start working our way along this snow-covered ridge in the mist and darkness. Literally, you couldn't see 10 feet in front of you. And we find, eventually, a couloir. Now, a couloir is simply a vertical canyon with rocks on the side and a sheet of ice that goes down. And we begin to inch our way down when all of a sudden Brian slips and he is shooting down the mountain, and disappears into the mist. My heart went into my throat, but we worked our way down, and fortunately we found Brian in a crevasse, a crack in the ice. And he was pretty shaken up, but he wasn't hurt, but he couldn't get out. So we had to form a human chain so that he could climb his way out of the crevasse. And no sooner had we gotten Brian out than Melissa slips, and she starts shooting down the couloir. And I did the only thing I could think of, is I reached out and I grabbed her. And now both of us are tumbling down the couloir. And I thought to myself, what can I do? So I rolled us into the rocks, and it abated our fall. And while we were scraped and scratched, we weren't seriously hurt, and we were able to continue to move on. 54 hours after starting this 17-hour trek, soaking wet and without any food, we emerged from the wilderness. And 3 days after that, we finished Raid the North to the applause of the local teams, and the mayor gave us a handshake. Now, I'm convinced that we didn't die in Haida Gwaii because we kept our wits about us, we worked together as a team, and we never gave up. My name's Mike Chastaine, and I'm a criminal defense lawyer. And I can promise you that I will always keep my wits about me. We will work together as a team, and we'll never give up. Thank you.